Oh, this guy can't miss. Oh, he is dialed in. He is dialed in. Guys, you got to come watch this. Ooh, I got to do a show.
All right, Gary Striewski, thanks for being on Talking Watches.
Oh my gosh, this is an absolute treat. Thank you for coming out here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I could tell everybody where we are, but you might want to do it just because I'm a little overexcited maybe.
Just a little jingle that should be easy to recognize. You know, the da-na-na, da-na-na.
Yeah.
Even though it is kind of hard to recognize where we are when we don't have, you know, the banners, but welcome into ESPN's Bristol headquarters and the Sports Center studio.
It's amazing. I know there's usually like a ton of, you know, color and screens going on, but this is what it really looks like in real life.
Oh man, it's dark.
The cameras
we have to pay
off.
per graphic, so you know what I mean. We got to keep the screens dark every now and again.
I get it. But we're really excited to have you because you're a true watch guy, but besides that, you're like kind of the man over here. I was like, what's your role over at ESPN?
Check is in the mail. I'll Venmo you for that comment. No, it's great. I've been at ESPN for 5 years. I kind of liken my role to being the Brock Purdy.
Okay.
I was sort of brought in as Mr. Irrelevant, right? Last pick in the draft. I was on a part-time deal doing SportsCenter Snapchat, and then sort of just evolved and grew into bigger roles and a little bit more responsibility. And then 5 years later, you know, they trust me to hold down the show on the weekends with Randy Scott, SportsCenter in the morning, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then I still host our SportsCenter Snapchat programs, and you'll catch me on every digital live stream that we have, which includes, you know, BBTN Live, Baseball Tonight, Hoop Streams, the list goes on.
That's amazing. So have you always been into watches? Is that something that was sort of like part of your life growing up, or is it something you've gotten into as like your career has progressed?
Both, right?
Yeah.
The latter part I got into as life progressed when, you know, the professional ability sort of allows you to dive into a little bit, but always appreciated watches and horology. So I dove headfirst into it.
So what started it for you? I mean, of course you can dive head first, but it has to start somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. It started with this one. This is actually, I'll take it off here. This is my dad's Seiko World Timer. And it has been around the world and back pretty much. And I remember two distinct memories as a kid living on the base in Fort Carson, Colorado, and watching my dad come home from the base smelling like dirt and tires and military equipment in his camouflage fatigues, but wearing this gold watch. So there was two thoughts in my head, and I'm not kidding. I was like, I don't think gold and camo go together. That was one thought as like elementary Gary.
That's your take.
And then my second take was, I think we're rich.
Yeah.
My dad's got a gold watch. I'm pretty sure we're wealthy. Come to find out, it's obviously not a solid gold watch, and you know the wear on this thing is incredible. He bought it in the early 90s as a tank commander at the local PX. Spent a couple $100 back then, which of course, a couple $100 is a lot of money now.
Sure, yeah.
To a guy who was on a fixed income and a young family just getting started, that was a fortune. Then he retired from the Army, became a state trooper, and young Gary didn't know the importance of it then, and I recognize and respect it now, as a state trooper and as a police officer, you know, you were kind of already a target, so there was a strict, no jewelry, nothing gold, nothing flashy on the wrist. So this sat, you know, in his medicine cabinet for 20 years, and I finally was able to pry it away from him. Took some links out, and now he'll never see it again. So yeah, now he's since moved on from this watch, and he wears a standard field watch, but yeah, this one's special to me.
That's amazing. It feels good to wear it, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
You're wearing it today, and you're wearing it when you were recording SportsCenter this morning.
Oh yeah, I rock this thing all the time. Matter of fact, I wear this, you know, when I'm doing stuff around the house, and I'll get messages, dude, are you wearing a Rolex? You know, ripping up floor?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not that foolish yet. Yeah, I'm not that foolish yet.
If anyone has not seen your TikToks, if your home renovations, they need to start doing that.
Yeah, for some reason, my part-time side hustle quickly becomes my second full-time job.
Yeah.
I keep signing myself up for it, but I guess do it while we're young.
You've got a good presence between that, and I think I want a Costco credit card now because
yes,
of you. You know?
Please.
Yeah,
Let me send you the link so I get a little bit of a kickback.
So from your own sort of collecting journey,
yeah,
where does it begin? with you, you know, out of your own wallet?
So I've always wanted, my dream watch was a Breitling Navitimer.
Okay.
In high school, I was like, that's the coolest watch ever. And I was so close to buying it in February, January of 2020. I was celebrating my 3-year anniversary at ESPN, and I was so close to purchasing it in Las Vegas. I was out there for the Conor McGregor fight. And for whatever reason, I got cold feet, went into the Rolex boutique, and I said, hey, I'm about to buy this Breitling. You got anything in here that I can take a look at, you know, just so I can do my due diligence? And the guy like laughed at me. He said, we don't have anything here to show you. Ha! How foolish of you to even think. I was like, that's my bad.
Yeah.
So I get home to West Hartford, and there's a local AD, Lux Bond in green, and I broke every rule, right, of decorum that the internet tells you to follow. I went in after the gym, sweaty, hoodie, hat, gross, and I was like, hey, I want to buy a Rolex. And the guy, Dave, who's awesome, was like, we don't have any, but, you know, I'll show you a couple. Showed me the Submariner, and I was like, this watch is incredible, the 1140-60. And I said, what do I got to do to buy it? So well, I could take down your information, but it's going to be a while. You know, we don't just get these.
Right.
Well, 2 weeks later, he texted me and said, Gary, you'll never believe it. I have one with your name on it, but you have to let me know by the end of the business day. So the first thing I did was I panicked, and then I called my dad. Yeah. And I said, Dad, is it okay? I'm 32, by the way. At this time, I'm a 31, 32-year-old, like, grown adult. And I'm like, Dad, is it okay if I buy a watch? It's a Rolex. And he goes, well, how much does it cost? And I was too embarrassed to tell my dad what it cost. So I was like, it's like $5,000, but I've saved up 20 years. And he goes, go buy the damn watch then. Of course, at the retail time, it was, you know, $7,900 or whatever it is. And it's still uncomfortable for me to even talk about those figures. And my dad doesn't even know that I lied to him, but
now he does.
He's watching this now.
Sorry, Dad.
So sorry, Dad. I was too embarrassed to tell you. But you'll be happy to know that it's gone up in value. So this was the one that started it all. This was the first one I got, and then it became a slippery slope quickly thereafter.
This one's such a clean look. The no date is just kind of a perfect watch.
Matter of fact, Dave gave me the option. He said, you can have the sub or the one with the date.
Sub date, yeah.
And for 2 reasons, I chose this one because it was cheaper. Yeah. And I didn't like the Cyclops. Yeah. You know.
It's an acquired taste.
Look at the collection now, and it's like, all right, well, I've taken a liking to the Cyclops, but yeah, this one's great. And this one probably still is the one that I wear the most.
All right, so where do we go from, we start at a Submariner, which is a great place to start.
Loved it. And then I got to tell you about this date that I have, because this one is really special to me as well. So soon to be 35-year-old Gary said, all right, I have a lot of steel, but I would love a birth year date. I wanted to commemorate turning 35, 1987, precious metal watch would be incredible. And I had been looking months leading up to that. Sure enough, TikTok. I'm scrolling one day, and this TikTok pops up, and it's a jewelry appraiser, who's my friend now, his name's Josh, talking about the watch. And he says, you guys will never believe what just came in. And it was this date. Yeah. Fully complete, one owner, receipts, box, paper, all 12 links. I immediately messaged him, and I said, just saw your TikTok. I've been looking for a birth year date for 34 years, right? Can I buy that one? I just offered to buy it. And he said, I'm gonna keep this one in my collection. I said, totally fair if you ever reconsider. He reconsidered, took the trip down to Philly. And the story behind it was the original owner had recently passed. And with his family's blessing, they just wanted to sell the watch. Right. It was never serviced. So I want to do right by a man who I never met, by keeping this in my collection and treating it for the next 35 years like he treated it. And I knew I had to hold on to it, and I will hang on to it, and wear it with the same respect that, of course, the previous owner had. I mean, it's in incredible shape. And this one I only wear special occasions. The national championship generally does fall in January. So I'll wear this for the national championship because my birthday is right around that time. Yeah. And then Christmas.
So how do we one-up a birth year gold date?
Gosh, well, you gotta talk about the Casio F91W in that case. Apparently.
If you say so.
Man, listen, these watches will take anybody back to being a kid. Yep. All of a sudden you're watching a Disney Channel original movie. I'm a company man. And you feel like, you know, Andy Brinker, right? And you're Team Pup and Suds, and you're about to take on Team X-Blades, and you gotta check the time because, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be on the half pipe in 5 minutes.
You were bringing me back.
Right? You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
The F91W is like the smart guy. It's the smart guy watch.
That's right.
So these watches are fun, and I actually wear these a ton. And I don't know if you're the same, but I change my watch probably like 2 to 3 times a day.
Okay.
On average.
I might not be quite that extreme.
Okay.
But like a little, but like not far off. Not far off.
I sleep with a watch on, and I'll wake up, and if I'm not in the mood to wear that watch, I'll choose another one.
Yeah.
And then depending on, what I'm doing, if I'm running errands where I have to, be a little bit more presentable, I might opt for another watch. But if it's just, hoodie and joggers and I'm running around, it's the Casios, it's the Sub, or it's the Timex.
All right, so this is insane that we just went from gold day date to Casio.
I know.
But it's like it's amazing. So what's next? What's next on this watch journey? So
we can't be at SportsCenter's headquarters in Bristol, Connecticut, the epicenter of sports, and not talk about a sports-specific watch, which is the Oris Big Crown. And not just any Oris Big Crown, but of course the Oris Big Crown Roberto Clemente Special Edition.
Yep.
One of 3,000 that Oris does every single year to, of course, commemorate Roberto Clemente, his award that MLB has for him. But this watch is incredible because, of course, those who don't know who Roberto Clemente is, he was just as good of a humanitarian person as he was a Hall of Fame World Series champion baseball player, the first Latin-born player inducted into the Hall of Fame, and of course, lost his life tragically New Year's Eve, early 70s, on a humanitarian mission. Of course, the Pirates retired his number, and this is, done in the Pirates colorway. So all that to say, this is a watch, if I know I'm going to a baseball game, or if I know I'm covering baseball, or if it's opening day, or if it's October and the playoffs are heating up, this watch goes into the rotation. The back of it is engraved, of course. And it's crazy that Clemente, one of just a few MLB players all time with 3,000 career hits, and unfortunately he passed away at exactly 3,000 career hits. And this is one of 3,000. So the number itself is not happenstance.
It's great too because aside from the commemorative nature of it, like the colors are just so perfect for the watch as well.
Look at this, man. You should be. Look at this.
I know. I'm also a Pittsburgh guy, so like.
Whoa! Yeah, here you go. Yeah. That's perfect.
That's
here, I'm
pretty
gonna
good.
keep that closer to you.
All right, great.
I'll keep that closer.
I love it.
The Oris is great. You want to know how weird?
I do.
How crazy it is? The times that we live in now, in terms of the friendships that you make, the people who share these common interests with you, is these two particular examples, this AP Royal Oak, the 15510, and then this Timex Weekender, right? And it's got a special Boston Watch Shots logo in it.
Yeah.
And in New England, there's communities for that. I mean, all over the world, there's communities for this. And by way of social media, I was connected with the guy who started this, and this is a watch that he made specifically for the group. It's limited to 25 or 50. So as goofy and silly as collecting these outdated pieces of technology is, I mean, I think it's so much more than that when it's like the human connection and the human element that comes by way of just liking these silly little wrist pieces, right? So that's an example.
Yeah.
And if I can just parlay into the next example.
I love this like high-low, the contrast of this conversation.
It's great, and I love keeping the prices low, but sometimes you get called and you're like, okay, I guess I'm buying an AP.
Yeah, I guess.
So on social media, and of course the position that I have in liking sports and covering sports for a living, of course you're gonna meet friends along the way who might just be your social media friends for a couple of years.
Right.
And this is the case with this AP. My friend Bennett and Bjorn, who live down in Atlanta, we're talking sports, we're just shooting the breeze about watches. And Bennett's like, well, if you ever find your way down in Atlanta, let's actually like hang out, go to dinner. We've been talking for 2 years. So I was down there for the Peach Bowl, and we did exactly that. He picked me up, went to dinner, went to the AP boutique there in Atlanta, but we left there with no real intentions of doing anything. Then a week later, when I get back up here, he's like, so you ready for the Royal Oak? And I was like, dude, am I being punked? Where's Ashton Kutcher? Where's Ashton Kutcher? So, it's just a relationship that happened on social media 2 years ago that found itself into this watch.
Amazing.
So before I knew the actual mountain it was to climb in terms of getting steel sports, I saw the Daytona and I was like, that's the watch I'm gonna get. I love that watch. I'm gonna get that. Should be no problem.
Right.
Come to find out it was a problem.
It's kind of a big problem. It's a huge problem.
So this thing was on the radar for so long. It's such an awesome watch. I host our F1 programming at ESPN. So I take this with me to all of the races. And these things kind of assist you in having conversations that aren't your run-of-the-mill, I'm a media member, you are a professional athlete, let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
This was Desmond Howard, and we're at the national championship game. Got my Daytona, but we got to talking. And he was like, oh man, I've been a big collector. You know, I like Paddock, I got AP.
Yeah.
But my daily is a Daytona. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So then before he left, he was like, Gary, come over here. And he had it in a watch roll, and he took it out, and like we're talking about the national championship games going on.
Yeah.
So I was sort of had this moment in the doldrums of SoFi Stadium. Like, man, I'm having a conversation with Desmond Howard about something that has
brought a
nothing to
watch
do.
roll to the game.
Who brought a watch roll to the game,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Had nothing to do with the actual game. Like, you're never, most of our viewers never, will know what it's like to win the Heisman Trophy.
Right.
Or return a punt for a touchdown.
I certainly will never.
In the Super Bowl and win Super Bowl MVP. But there's a lot of people who know what it's like to get the call.
Yeah.
At that point, he wasn't, you know, Desmond Howard, Heisman Trophy winner, Super Bowl MVP. He was just like Desmond Howard,
Watch
guy.
collector, yeah.
Yeah, watch guy.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So let's keep the Rolex train going here. I like this path we're on.
Yeah, let's. The Pepsi here is one of the most recent pickups. Actually, it's the Pepsi and the root beer.
Double GMT.
One of my golfing friends, Brandon, I've been pestering him for a root beer all summer. He blessed me with this watch, which was great. But then 2 days later, I get the call for this one.
Yeah.
You can't say no to the GMTs. So, you know, I got these almost as a tandem.
A root beer and a Pepsi. It's a lot of soft drink.
I know, it's a lot. I'm not going to do the Sprite. No, I'm watching my calories. And I'll be the first to admit, I understand the ability that we have and the privilege that we have, and even being able to, like, enjoy this hobby. And that is 100% not lost on me at all. Because I know, like, this layout could be a little bit like, you need to chill out a little bit, Gary. But I'm going to give these all to my kids. I'm going to have 15 kids.
There you go. That's a great plan.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But these will hopefully pay for their college, you know, in the future.
So we have these two GMTs, but there's one sort of like outsider. Seems a little left out of the conversation. Yeah. I'm a little partial to this one.
This was the first. We can do swapsies.
Yeah, might as well.
We can do.
We might as well.
We can do a clean swap. So the girlfriend works in the industry as well, and when she got her job, I said, "Hey, just go kick the tires at your local AD. Let them know, hey, you're new to the town. You might have somebody in the family who likes collecting watches." Didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
And actually, funny enough, we were at my parents' house in Colorado, and the AD called her on my birthday, January 11th. It was like, hey, didn't know if you were still interested, but if you are, we got a GMT, my first GMT. I was like, yes, of course.
Yeah.
So she helped me get this one. So that one is special to me.
Well, we talked about this because I wear mine all the time.
Oh my gosh.
You do too, because it's one of those watches you just like.
I find myself using the GMT time because we're traveling, you know, back and forth.
Yes.
I'm popping out to the West Coast for an assignment. So you don't realize how efficient and effective the GMT is.
So useful when you actually use it.
That's the one thing the Apple Watch
so good.
doesn't do.
Yeah.
All right, it's digital. You're up there. It's no man's land up there. There's no internet. There's no connection. You're like, what day is it? What time is it? What planet am I on? So the GMT is like such a simple function, obviously revolutionary.
Also tells you what planet you're on.
Back then, yes.
Yeah.
Earth.
Yes.
If it's anything else, you're in trouble. So the GMT is great, but the sub's great. You know, like this is like my vacation watch.
Yeah, you finally warmed up to the Cyclops, I see.
Yes.
Eventually you
I
came around.
did warm up to the Cyclops. And I think the green is like the perfect little pop of color to have some fun.
Against the black dial, because the old Hulk was green on green. I think I like this a lot better.
Yeah, my friend Nick has one of those.
Yeah.
And he got that when we were like in our mid-20s.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, did you hit the lottery? How do you have that? So I got this watch, and this is the one I take with me, you know, on vacations.
I want to continue our high-low conversation.
Yes, please.
And take our little planet Earth assignment to another celestial body over here.
Well,
can you tell me about Uranus?
I can. So I'm in France for my most recent birthday.
Yeah.
With the girlfriend and myself, and we're walking up you guys are gonna kill me for this pronunciation. The Champs-Élysées.
That's pretty close.
And there's a swatch store.
Yeah.
We pop in just to see, and I'm like, hey, do you guys have any of those like moon
You
swatches?
and a million other people.
So you would think.
Yeah.
I accidentally cut the whole line.
Yeah?
We didn't see that on the other side of the walkway there was an entire queue of people, and I just went in. I was like, hey, you guys got any of those moon swatches, huh? And the guy was like, you can select one of these 5. And it was Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and this one.
Yeah.
And I eventually had to go back, wait my turn, and I was looking and I said, man, which one should I get? And I went for Uranus because, well, I saw it and thought that would be the coolest watch on a NATO strap.
Yeah.
So as soon as I got it, spent $8, and scooped this one up. And I've heard and read the reviews that the color peels in hot weather and it bleeds onto your skin.
That's actually, I think it's all been fixed. That doesn't
sure.
happen.
Okay, yeah, the Neptune, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to go to Neptune anyway?
Exactly.
It's all about Uranus.
I agree. All right, let's move over to another colorful dial here.
The PPX?
Yeah.
When I first handled this watch, when it was first introduced, I couldn't believe how lightweight it was. I had never handled titanium like that. And I remember texting VJ when this was first introduced. I said, man, that salmon dial goes crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you like it? It's like, yeah, hell yeah, what's not to like? So I was fortunate enough to get this. And I met VJ on a little bit of he did a little promotional tour because, of course, Oris does signage across a handful of MLB ballparks, one being San Diego. And he said, hey, would you mind, coming out to San Diego and helping us out? It's San Diego in September. It's like, I don't know, VJ, sounds like a pretty crappy time.
Yeah. So I'll think about it.
We went out there and I guess as a token of appreciation, he gave me this.
Another watch with an underrated clasp. I mean,
oh my gosh, this thing is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the exhibition case back, this is the first watch I had that had one. So I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that. That's true.
And then the Royal Oak has one, of course.
Yeah.
But this thing, I was like, I got this, and I'm just at Petco Park doing this, like not watching Manny Machado hit home runs.
We did see a video of you catching a fly ball at a baseball game once, so I imagine you just looking at a watch. And
that was more self-preservation.
It was a clean catch, though.
It was clean.
Yeah.
And I had to play it cool.
Yeah.
I had to, because John Farrell was there. All the Skip, the players were there, and I couldn't be like, ouch, my hand. So like internally, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
No problem, Jerry and Don. That was easy as pie.
It's part of the job.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think we only have one watch left on the table here. Yeah, the Breitling.
Okay, so I thought that my one watch, the buy and die, was going to be the Breitling Navitimer, the BO1, right? But when I got the sub, I said, all right, I'm doing this watch thing for sure. And when Breitling posted this on Instagram, I fell in love immediately to the point where I clicked on shop now and I bought it. I think I used a firm. I was like, I don't have the money now.
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
We've all used a firm.
0% for how many months? So I got it, handled it, loved the look, but for some reason, I sent it right back.
Yeah.
And I immediately regretted it to the point where a couple months later, I tried to get it again back into the collection. Come to find out, it's like a limited edition that actually was limited to 2,000. I couldn't find it online. Breitling's website, I even called them. Even, the franchise stores didn't have them. So I was just scouring eBay, and then finally there was one in Japan, and it was incredible. I thought it was like meant to be because he sent it with a folded paper crane, handwritten note, like, thank you so much for your interest in this, because we had been talking for weeks.
Yeah.
I was watching like a hawk for weeks. So I finally got it in the collection, and it will stay in the collection. Like, it's so funky.
It is.
The red hands.
It totally is.
It's so funky. I love this watch. When I wear this, I actually get a ton of compliments because it does stand out. The Zorro dial, the red hands, the heritage piece from the top times from years past. But this, again, to me, is like a very fall-y watch, right? You're cruising around. You got the nubuck strap.
But I think with this one, too, for you, it's like the purchase ended up being more meaningful in the end. And maybe that's why you ended up wanting to keep it. I mean, just buying something online.
Correct.
No shade to a firm, but just going through that process might not have had the same meaning as sort of what came back in the end.
And I think you hit the nail on the head because out of every single one of these purchases, there is a person or a group of people tied to the acquisition.
Yeah.
So I was able to have that with this watch, even though it was from somebody who was a world away.
So people might not realize that aside from being, a SportsCenter host, you're also like a legitimate home renovator / demolition man.
I would not put legitimate.
It seems pretty legit to me.
I would not put legitimate. Let's just say I hold a lot of honorary degrees from YouTube University.
Okay.
And I think that's what happened when I got on the other side of 30. I was like, I think I need to buy a pair of Air Monarchs.
Yeah.
I think I need to knock down a wall just because.
I need a sledgehammer. Yeah.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
Like while I still have the time, I don't have a family yet. And truth be told, not to get like too sappy, but I only see my parents like 2, 3, 4 times a year. And every time you see your parents when you get to be my age, they get a little older.
Yeah.
So I want to be in a position to be able to pay back to them what they were able to offer to me and my sister. So I'm just setting myself up for the future.
That's amazing.
The future's always out there, right? But then the future comes, and then there's more future, right? So
there's a connection there between like how you see keeping a watch and who that watch might end up with, and you having your dad's watch. Like,
yeah.
These things that you're looking forward to and keeping family in mind, I think there's a connective tissue between those things where you might not really even realize it necessarily.
I don't know. I don't think you know what you know until you know it.
That's
right?
true.
It's so goofy to say that and to hear that, but you really don't know. Like, did I know that the Seiko that my dad wore, you know, his entire Army career would one day be like the piece that I'll never get rid of, right?
Yeah.
This thing lasted freaking almost 40 years without getting lost or stolen or damaged.
Yep.
So now I feel like it's my responsibility to continue its life.
Yes.
I know the sub will, of course, probably get passed down to the firstborn.
Yeah.
When that time comes. I wouldn't shy away from giving these to like my dear friends like one day, right? How many watches does a person really need?
I mean, that's an impossible question.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So they're fun, and it'll be a fun experiment when that time comes.
Yeah.
When you have to make those decisions. But for right now, I don't have to. And I know I said these watches are great because you can gift them to people and gift watches to people. Well, how would I look if I said that and I don't live up to my word? So, Danny Milton, this is 101. All right, I am passing the torch.
What am I looking at here?
At the ESPN Sports Center limited release watch.
Limited release.
Hey, take a look at that. To commemorate yours and Hodinkee's first visit to the Sports Center studio, that is yours.
This is happening live on camera.
That's yours. That is yours. Hey, open it up. I made sure we put a quartz battery in there. Don't worry. It's not a mechanical movement.
This is insanely cool.
Don't look at the price tag on the back of the case either. Adjusted for inflation, that watch is like as much as this.
I can tell you are a man of your word, and this is the coolest thing
Give it a
ever.
go. You're going to need to break in that strap.
I definitely will. I'm going to be wearing this the rest of the day today. No
It's
joke.
awesome. It's such a fun watch, right?
It's just amazing.
Like, whether you're talking high horology or like a novelty piece like that, they're so cool to like exchange and
the Sports Center
have fun with.
at 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. I mean,
man, it's time.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Da-na-na, da-na-na. The only thing that would make that watch better is if it did have a chime.
I mean, we can always put an
Yeah, that's
aftermarket
true.
chime.
You guys
right?
are Hodinke.
Yeah, we can make it happen.
You can do whatever you want, man.
Hey, thanks, Gary. That's
amazing.
amazing.
That's awesome.
That is so cool.
That's cool.
Definitely.
If I see that on eBay in a couple of weeks, just promise me you'll split the profit.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
All right,
Definitely.
cool.
Can do.